Oh God, we're doing a podcast. What is it now, Karen? Episode 10.
Hello.
It's another Saturday night.
Yes.
And it's a big one because it's our season finale. It's the last episode in series 1.
Yeah. I'm sure people are devastated.
Absolutely.
Last morning.
I think it's a self-imposed number. I think it's just because 10 sounds quite good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 10 episodes a season sounds like a reasonable number.
And I'm sure people will be surprised to hear, but we don't do this full time.
It may come as a shock to you.
I know people won't believe that, but
we're actually just amateur part-timers.
I know people will find that really hard to believe, but it's true.
So 10 episodes have absolutely flown by. Do you remember when we started, like the first one we were talking, I can't remember what we were talking about. I think we were talking about like immigrants and how callous people were about like people who drowned in the Med or in the English Channel. That seems like absolute ages ago.
It was, I don't even think we had tears at that point of lockdown. That was how long ago. Back in the day.
Oh my God, it was.
Because I actually came to visit you in person.
You did.
That was allowed.
Yeah, before we started recording, you came round and we were like fleshing out all like our ideas and our structure and stuff. And that must have been the start of September.
Yeah.
And since then we've all been put through the ringer again.
Yeah.
Then I was re-listening to, because I'm a total narcissist, I was re-listening to some of the episodes, and one of them was like, oh my God, we're at the end of September already, or something, or we're at the start of October already. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, because it's now like the end of November. Oh well, listen, let's have a wee cheers to
10 episodes.
10 episodes, 10 in a row. The only one we'll see this season, probably.
Let's not start that.
Okay, so how have you been? Last couple of weeks?
Do you know, got my flu vaccine today. So
did you?
I did.
Maybe that's why I'm feeling a bit hot and flushed.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can do that to you.
Nothing to do with the gin.
Nothing to do with the gin. Or the vid, hopefully. No.
So flu vaccine, so I'm feeling good, feeling immune. And I've been going I've been for 2 walks today.
2? Bloody know that. I thought you were only allowed 1.
Oops, I mean 1.
To be honest, I don't fully understand the tiers. I thought it was
I think it's unlimited outdoor exercise.
I thought it was only essential shops were allowed to be open now. But I was out a walk today down to Kilgrove Park, came back down Great Western Road, and there was all these, all these like stupid like gift shops, like trinket shops and stuff. They were all open, selling like Christmas tat.
I think Christmas shops are allowed to stay open.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know.
And do you know what? I can kind of understand that as a small business, if you just are on your knees, you're just going to open.
And risk the fine or whatever it is they do.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Are police actually imposing fine? I don't know anymore. But I comparison, and it was like a small, it was a small business owner. It was a bookshop, and he was saying, how is it safe for someone to go and buy a book from a supermarket, but they can't come into my shop where it's really, spacious. I've made all these extra precautions. What difference is it making? I kind of get it.
Yeah. But I think the logic is that you limit people's excursions, isn't it? So people, instead of being like, I want to go out and browse the bookshop, they just go to the supermarket to get the food and limit their journeys. It's the same. See, when people are like, oh, well, does the virus not come out till after 6 o'clock?
Is that what
I thought? actually, Karen, that's not the point. The point is that if you let people stay out past 6 o'clock, they get more and more legless and then more likely to avoid distancing. That's the point. Try to limit how much people are out doing.
Well, I think just generally everyone, unsurprisingly, is just fed up and scunnered and, you know.
Look, we're all scunnered with it. We're all scunnered with it. Anyway.
Quote Love Island, it is what it is.
Is what it is. Or to quote Dawn from Gavin and Stacey, it's difficult, isn't it?
It actually is, oh my god.
It's so difficult. I'm hopeful that in 2021 we are able to record an episode of WIINK in person and together. That would be really, really, really fun.
We might even have a studio, who knows? That was a bit of a menacing laugh.
That just really made me chuckle. I think our studio would be like your new bathroom for its acoustics, but I think we'll put like egg boxes, we'll sellotape egg boxes all up the walls to make it like soundproof. Yeah. Like
not in my new bathroom. Not on your Nelly will you be sticking anything on the walls.
Listen, you had the bravery to stick those tiles on the walls. I think we can stick anything on those walls. Have you got any Christmas decor up yet? It's almost December.
Yep, I put my tree up last weekend.
Last weekend, really?
Because do you know what it was though? My living room looked so empty. See, without like a bathtub and like a toilet and cistern sitting in it. I was like, oh my god, this room is empty.
Oh my god.
I got the tree out and stuff, the cupboard. I got the tree out of the cupboard just to kind of see it, and then I'll just put it up.
I think my blanket rule for Christmas stuff is Advent. It's got to be Advent before we start.
Why?
1st of December. Because I think that's just
self-imposed.
Huh?
But that's like that self-imposed rule that you've just given to yourself.
Well, it's self-imposed, but it's also like I don't know. There's something, because do you know why I resent it? Because the adverts start earlier every year. The Christmas ads, and they start like they've already been on TV for like 2 weeks. So that's like the middle of November. We literally just go from Halloween to Remembrance Sunday to Black Friday to Christmas, and it's just like we just lurch from one big commercial thing to the next. So me sticking to Advent as my Christmas rule is like a small protest against this stupid capitalist culture where you're constantly trying to be sold something.
You're really sticking it to the man.
In my own small way, I am, okay? Right, so we've got what I would call a soft submission this week, haven't we? It wasn't like a confession or a Karen story, but it was one of our listeners called Logan sent in something.
Oh, yeah.
I really, really laughed at this. And we spoke about Jess Glynn back in like episode, I don't know, 1 or 2 or something like that, and how she was a bit of a Karen. So I think the restaurant, and I always get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was called Sexy Fish.
Yep. And
she got KB'd from Sexy Fish because she was wearing trainers, okay, and they've got a dress code, which is a bit snobby, but right, whatever. So Logan sent us this link to a 38 Degrees or whatever it was. It was a petition, and the petition was send Jess Glynn to Guantanamo Bay.
For war crimes.
War crimes. And you know it only needed 100 signatures.
100?
Yeah, something like that.
No, I think it's 100,000, is it not, for like Parliament to consider it?
Right. But I don't think it's ever going to get to Parliament. Even if it did, I think they'd be like, right, this is nonsense.
But anyway, we did get back to Logan and we said, as much as we would love to go into this more, we don't want to get them for slander and or libel. So,
whichever is which.
Yeah, so we'll leave it there, but shout out to Logan.
But we like to invite the risk of slander and libel on this podcast.
No, you do. You do, but I don't.
Jess Glynn, look, let it be known that Hold My Hand was my anthem. First, second year of uni, loved it, absolutely loved it. I thought it was very joyous, very upbeat. Reminds me of a very good time in my life. But given the Sexy Fish debacle, I don't think I'm really with Jess Glynn anymore, to be honest.
Really, just after one thing?
Mm-hmm. But then again, I think Guantanamo Bay is not a proportional punishment for that.
Yeah, it's quite extreme.
We've had a second submission just before we started to record tonight.
Oh.
The dinner lady in my daughter's school, the scary one, Scary Spice, refused me a soup on my daughter's dinner card because she gets hers free of VAT and I have to pay VAT on my soup. More of a job's worth than anything, but I will be escalating.
Absolutely. So you should.
Thanks very much. I hope the soup was worth it, because quite often school dinner soup is absolute.
How much VAT is on soup? Jeez Louise.
So kids...
What is VAT, like 25%? So say a soup...
20.
Was it 20?
20. Used to be 17.5, but it's 20 now.
Yeah, sorry. So the VAT on what, a £2 soup, what would that be?
What, £2 for soup in school? Are you mad? It should be £1.
I don't know, I'm just guessing.
Now, I think I know the dinner lady that they're referring to, and she was quite scary. And this is a primary school.
All dinner ladies are scary, really.
Which is strange, isn't it? Because but I remember the dinner ladies, we've spoken about dinner ladies before, the ones at our high school, which were, hit and a miss. The ones at my primary school were also quite scary. They used to snatch your money off you, like grab it out of your hand.
We used to, our primary school, have to ask for permission. Like if we hadn't finished our meal, we would have to like ask for permission if it was okay to like put it in the bin.
What?
Yeah. So, and they would come round and say like, oh no, you need to eat another 2 forkfuls of beans or whatever, and then you can go.
I hate that. Food fascism. See, before we start Cans of the Week, I just wanted to share with you the most bizarre piece of news I have seen in quite a long time.
Okay.
This was yesterday. It was Cher on the way to Pakistan to help save the world's loneliest elephant.
Wow.
Right. Don't really know what to say to that.
I have so many questions that I have no questions.
So, first of all, I thought we were in a lockdown, essential travel only. Second of all...
don't be such a spoil sport.
No, I mean, look, I'm all for it. Lonely elephants, save them. But what is she going to do? Is she just sit with it for a bit, or is she going to buy it? I never clicked on the link. I don't know what's happening, but I just thought, as headlines go, that's pretty 2020, isn't it?
Okay, so you need some cheering up, clearly. If you can't find joy in that headline, then you need some cheering up. Okay. So my Karen of the week this week, well, first of all, we'll start with the good news, and that...
Please.
So Scotland recently passed a bill unanimously, which now means that period products are free to all who need them.
Yeehaw!
You know, leading the way, I think first country to have, you know, this enshrined in law, which is just fantastic. I think we've spoke about it before in the podcast, about period poverty and things like that, and this is just absolutely Fannydabbydozi, or Fannydabbydozi.
It is panto season as well, so that phrase is in.
Under the so the Scottish Parliament tweeted this news, and someone called Jan, so largely positive replies, you know, this is amazing, I'm so proud to live in Scotland. Other people from other countries saying, you know, I hope my country follows Scotland's example. You know, largely a really positive response. But as ever, we have some not so positive responses. And this one caught my eye from someone called Jan. Now, taxpayers, on behalf of my 2 hardworking adult sons, in brackets, who pay their taxes in full, I'd like free shaving kits for men. Free was in capitals. Most of them shave daily, and I nearly fainted when number 2 son asked me to get him razors. Quite a good few years ago now. Nearly fainted.
Do you know what's really funny? Because I saw that exact same tweet, and I also wanted to select it for tonight's discussion because, first of all, she's presumably a lady who menstruates. So why is she so pissed off? Second of all, equating razors to period products, ridiculous. Third of all, sentence structure again.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And we'll put that one up on the socials so you can see the sentence structure that we're talking about, because she uses some like capitalization and things, doesn't she?
There's just so much that's like I don't even know where to start. So like you said, you know, having your period and shaving, you know, they're not compatible. And also, women shave too. Largely under the, you know, largely it's because of pressures from men who don't like women having hair and having pubic hair. So off, Jan. and I wouldn't want
She's had a gin and tonic, she's getting bold.
I had like 3 sips of a gin and tonic. She feels like her sons are at a disadvantage because they're clearly wouldn't benefit from this, or wouldn't benefit directly from this bill.
Do you know what I'm going to say though? If her sons, first of all, male razors, right, in Tesco, Lidl, whatever, disposable ones, cheap as anything. Like you're talking like £1 for a bag of 20. The point is, her sons are earning enough money to be paying tax. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Therefore, they've got enough money to go out and buy a razor.
Which
do you know what I mean?
Have to do because
which they don't even have to do, yeah.
Having facial hair isn't, you know, you're not going to be a social pariah. Whereas if you're walking around dripping blood from your vulva, then you're, you know, it's a bit different.
But that was my thought as well. Was like all these people, right? And it was a lot of men, classic like meninists, like comment stuff like, well, what about free razors? Well, what about free condoms and all this kind of stuff? First of all, condoms are free. If you go to the pharmacy or you go to the clinic. Yeah. Second of all, razors, not an essential. Third of all, your wife, partner, girlfriend, mother, daughter might see this tweet and like they'll just think that you don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, how would they feel if their significant other saw that tweet? They're like, well, why did women need free period products?
I love the comments from men that are just like, can they not just use toilet roll, or can they not just hold it in? It's just absolutely hilarious.
Well, one of the repeated comments was, well, make toilet roll free then. And we were like, well,
It's free in public toilets.
Literally, it's free in public toilets, and that's where all these sanitary products are going to be free as well. They're not literally going to be, because my understanding of the bill is that obviously you will still be able to go and buy your preferred brand of products in the shop for a price, but in certain places they'll be free to pick up, and that's completely valid. Do you know what the other theme was? That it was like not fair. Like, because it's women getting a product, it's like not fair.
Even though, like you say, condoms have been freely available for years. It's what I understand feminism to be as well, is that we're just raising the bar for women to be at the same level as men. You know, we're just bringing women up to be at the same level. We're not, you know, setting the bar higher or anything. We just want to be the same. And by supplying period products.
She's drunk.
Look how much I've drank. Like, I have a full glass.
Well, to be fair, that's a big glass, and it was up to the brim when we started this podcast, listeners. It was filled to the brim. And she only used 1 tin of tonic water, so you know it's mostly gin.
I just winked, realising that, you know, no one else can see me except you.
And a lot of the people who are up against it are kind of like undermining their own arguments within their own comments. There was somebody who replied saying, interesting to see how this pans out. Will there be a limited number per household? I will be watching eBay for an influx of discounted products. Right, well, I don't think anybody's going to claim free tampons and then sell them on eBay. Second of all, if you wanted to buy discounted tampons, you probably would just go and get them for free anyway. Do you know what I mean? And then his next comment, in my opinion, if you're chucking money about, could we go for non-commodity items such as dentistry? I'm like, well, actually, Twitter, if you're struggling financially, you can get free dentistry.
So, bet you to it.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, it's like, you know, for example, I'm in the lucky position that I can afford my own period product, so I'm not going to have to use this service, thankfully, but maybe one day I will. But it's also just good to know and have the confidence that if you're out and about, when we are allowed to leave the house and do stuff, they'll be more readily available in public toilets, because there's nothing worse than being caught short. There's usually like a vending machine that half the time never works or only accepts 20
pound coins or something.
And it's just ridiculous. You either need to, you know, use a temporary measure, or, you know, if you're friends with you, or, you know, sometimes people, and if there's someone else in the toilet, you know, we'll maybe ask each other if you have anything, but it'll just be nice to have that extra level of reassurance.
We keep going through these comments here because they're just, I could have read out honestly, the people who took time out of their day to comment something stupid under any number of news stories about this. Someone said, can I get a free elastoplast if I cut my finger? What nonsense will the SNP think of next to try and win votes? They've lost the plot. So there's a few points to break down there. First of all, if you cut your finger badly enough, you will get a free elastoplast, because you'll go to the A&E and get your finger reattached and stitched up and dressed for free. And that's not necessarily free. It's free at the point of access. You pay for the NHS through your taxes, much the same as you will with these free period products. Don't see more in about that. Second of all, what nonsense will the SNP think of? This was a Scottish Labour bill. Hilarious. Monica Lennon brought it in. Is the only decent Lennon cutting about at the moment. Anyway, yet another comment. Sorry, I just keep coming across them. Why should one gender have to pay for products used exclusively by another? Someone's replied saying, why not? The NHS subsidises Viagra, which is true. You can get Viagra on prescription from your GP. And then someone that did the original posters replied, subsidising a medical treatment versus paying for products to give every woman for a naturally occurring body function isn't the same thing. What's next? Makeup? What? But they've completely argued against themselves there. Subsidising a medical treatment. Well, Viagra's not a medical treatment. It's just if you... Well, you don't... Do you know what I mean? It's not a God-given right to have an erection.
Oh,
Okay?
that kind of gives me the bulk a wee bit.
Bodily function. Well, listen, we're going to be... Listen, we're frank and open. An erection is also a naturally occurring bodily function. So this person, whoever they are...
But also, clearly, if they're needing Viagra, then it's not a natural function.
Okay, so my card of the week, we're harking back a wee while, actually. We're harking back to the... Why am I saying hark? Charles Dickens. Okay, so I think, first part of the UK to make it law that you can't use physical punishment on under 16s. So beforehand, it was in the law, it was called reasonable chastisement. You're allowed to use physical force to discipline your child if it was for reasonable chastisement. But that in court used to be called justifiable assault. Oh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yep.
Christ. We're not hot on the trend in Scotland to do that. I think we're the 58th country to do it. The first was Sweden, and that was back in 1979. So obviously Scandinavia leading the way.
Well, it's quite a recognised, it's established in like animal training and in dog puppy classes and things that you don't use force in a lot of these like electric collars or bands and things like that.
God.
And really, if the argument of like smacking your kids is like the same thing. It's like the shock value of associating pain with certain behaviours. It's proven that it doesn't work. People who were smacked as a child, I don't think it comes from a bad place. For a lot of people, it's just what their parents did, and teach them a lesson. You don't want to end up with spoiled brat kids who aren't chastised or punished for being naughty and rude and cheeky, and you want to teach your kids lessons and good manners. And I think for years, smacking was the accepted way and it wasn't challenged. So I don't think parents who did smack their kids are necessarily bad, but I think what we know now, there are
constant development. It's constant learning, constant development.
But we're not parents as well, so I think we need to be careful that we don't come across as a bit smarmy, because I think it's when you've got kids or one kid and you're working and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're spinning loads of plates, and you can get to the end of your tether and you can lose your temper, and if you get a smack on the bum, does that make you a criminal? Does it make you a child abuse? I don't know. So
my Karen this week has commented underneath the news article, smacking is not child abuse. New paragraph. Anyone with children knows they are rule testers and rule breakers. They're lovely, but they're also manipulative and devious. New paragraph. The more laws from the state you put between a parent and child, the more toxic you make that relationship. So,
I don't disagree with everything that she's saying in terms of like I just said before, I don't think all parents who smack their kids are monsters and awful human beings, but
I think the biggest joke here though is that person is called Colin Bottom. That's so funny.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me to comment on. Like I said, I don't have kids. I don't personally think it's right to hit children. That's just my kind of personal belief. If I had kids, I wouldn't smack them. But I don't always think that people who smack their kids in the bum are, were reasonably, what is reasonable, I don't know, are necessarily bad people. But
this is a thing, isn't it? It's like, where does so some people justify smacking your kid, but like, when do you cross the line into kind of abuse? I'm sure people have stood up in court before, as you said before, like, and justified their battering of their child as, discipline and justifiable assault and reasonable chastisement and all this kind of stuff. So it is, but I think we both agree it's a good step forward.
Yeah, and I think it makes it easier then to differentiate, because then those bastards, no other way to put it, who do batter their kids, there's going to be no justifying it or saying, it was reasonable force. If it's illegal, it's illegal.
So a couple of things to pick up on with with Mr. Bottom. It's called right. So I have no idea if this person has children at all, but he's called children rule testers, rule breakers, lovely, manipulative, and devious. Like, a child can't be manipulative. I don't think they actually have the cognitive faculties to be manipulative and devious. Of course, they're devious. They're kids. They're kids. They're meant to be devious. They're meant to be mischievous. They're meant to test the water and test the rules. That's part of growing up. Like, it doesn't mean it should be met with a smack. Also, the more laws from the state you put between a parent and child, the more toxic you make that relationship. Does he mean between the parent and child or between the parent and the state? Because laws from the state should not make any relationship with your child toxic. I feel like if you've got a toxic relationship with your child, that's your own problem.
Well, the law is in place to protect children who are, vulnerable there. It's
Exactly, and if you've got an issue with that law, then you're the problem.
I don't want to come across like, this pious asshole.
10 episodes too late, babe. So I think as part of our episode 10 season finale, I think we should look back at, our highlights and the lowlights.
Okay.
Things that we've learned, things to reflect on, things you're happy about that we did.
Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm really happy that we did this.
Me too.
Really happy. I think so. When you first pitched the idea, as if I'm some like mogul, when Bethany first invited me to take part, I actually first thought she was going to invite me to be a guest and that she already had like something up her sleeve, but then she invited me to like co-host it and I was quite pleased.
We have spoken about like podcasting before and
had we?
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was like the first time we've ever spoken about podcasting.
So you had said to me, "Oh, do you want to be part?" You actually sent me a text. That was it. You said, "Have you ever been on a podcast before?" And I think I said no, but I'd really, really want to because I've got a lot to say. And obviously, people that know me will affirm that I do have a lot to say. And I did anticipate to just be like a guest or something, like just to speak about a topic. But then you were like, "Oh, well, we should do it together," and I was quite excited, quite nervous actually. I was a bit worried I was going to be like, "Oh, this is going to be really cringy and really self-righteous," and I think.
And then all your fears came true.
Do you know something? Like, I used to not even be able to listen to the sound of my own voice or like on video or anything. And then I listened to the first episode of the podcast and I was like, well, it's out there now. It's on Spotify. Nothing I can do about it. Just got to deal with it.
And now you love it. And
I was quite pleased with it. And I'm really glad that we did it. I think as the episodes have gone on, we've got a bit better at being less serious. And I think we're having a bit more of a laugh.
I'm proud because I think, where we are from, it's like people don't do podcasts and don't do things like this. And if you do, then you get slagged. We have been slagged, but
have you?
Well, no, do you know what I mean? It's just you're putting yourself out there and you're doing something a bit different. Go us. Let's drink to that again.
Drink to that again. No, I'm pretty proud, and I think actually what a lot of people don't realise is that I'm very much a passenger on this podcast. Bethany does all the editing. It was her concept, her podcast to begin with. I'm really just along for the ride. So very thankful to Bethany's skills. She's done a good job so far.
I think
so far.
So far. Thank you. That's about as close as a compliment as it gets from Joseph.
For me, absolutely.
Pretty much a marriage proposal from Joseph.
You've done the bare minimum. Well done. What are you doing coming up? What are your big plans for the next week?
Are plans a thing anymore? Like nothing?
Yeah, like everybody's got things to look forward to. So, for instance, I haven't seen Gogglebox this week, for instance, so that's on my list.
Okay, right. I never watched it last night, so I'll be watching it tonight.
I've watched it tonight. I will be. So I've got a lot of time off now. I've got a lot of time off now, but then I'm working kind of relentlessly over Christmas, and then I'm also not getting any annual leave until April. So I'm gonna try and absorb all the well-being that I can in the next 18 days. Series 1 of What Is It Now, Karen, has been an absolute pleasure, treasure.
But we're not finished for this year because we will be back for a Christmas special.
We will be back. Unlike many Karens, we will be back.
Will be back.
Okay, well.
For the last time of season 1 then, if you enjoyed this podcast, please follow, like, share, subscribe, retweet, like, comment. And if you want to get in touch, we'll be on the emails and Instagram.
All over Christmas. We don't take a break. We work 24/7.
No holidays at WIINK HQ.
Nope.
It's whatisitnowkaren@gmail.com, and our Instagram is whatisitnowkaren.
It is indeed. And Bethany, it's been a pleasure.
We'll see you at the Christmas special. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.